N. Wheeler, Canadian doctor. N. Wheeler was a Canadian doctor in the British Army. Rank was major, stationed in Singapore in 1942 when British forces unconditionally surrendered to the Japanese on February 15, 1942. He was imprisoned by the Japanese in Singapore and later moved to the Japanese colony of Formosa, now Taiwan, with other British prisoners of war (POW). While a prisoner of war, he was a camp doctor in each camp in which he was imprisoned. He survived the war and settled in Edgerton, Alberta in Canada. Biography. N. Wheeler was a Canadian doctor who joined the British Indian Army as a doctor in the late 1930s with the rank of major. Shortly after the outbreak of the Second World War, he was posted to Singapore. In 1942, when British forces unconditionally surrendered to the Japanese on February 15, 1942. He was imprisoned by the Japanese in Singapore and later moved to the Japanese colony of Formosa, now Taiwan, with other British POW. Wheeler was sent to the prison camp at Kinkasky in northern Formosa, where the prisoners were forced to work in a copper mine. He had a central role in keeping up the spirits and the health of British and Commonwealth soldiers subjected to harsh treatment while prisoners of the Japanese, and was directly responsible for saving hundreds of lives. The prisoners of war were subjected to some of the most inhuman treatment imaginable by their Japanese guards. Conditions in the mine and the camp were as bad, if not worse in many cases, than those experienced by POW under Japanese control on the now famous Railway of Death in Burma and Thailand. He was the only Canadian in the camp, and the survivors came together to see to it that he got an Order of Britain for his heroic work. Shortly after Wheeler left India for Singapore, his wife and children left India for Edgerton, Alberta. After the fall of Singapore, she had no word if he was alive or dead for more than 2 years, when finally she received a postcard with his signature written over a date after that. There was little word until his camp was found by the Americans and liberated on September 26, 1945. Wheeler came home to his wife living at Edgerton by the end of 1945, and Wheeler was born in September 1946, one of the first of the baby boomers. Films. A docudrama, a war story, was made about his experiences as a prisoner of war. His daughter and Wheeler was the director of this feature-length film, which was released in 1981. And Wheeler also wrote and directed a film loosely based on her mother's experience in Alberta, Canada during her husband's stay in the POW camp, Bye Bye Blues 1989.